Hey guys, what's up? This is Jordan Crook with TechCrunch, and I'm here with Ashton Kutcher and Josh Gad, interviewing them about the Jobs film. What were some of the biggest challenges in taking on these roles?
I think that the fact that you're taking on two people that are enormously important and still a part of the cultural zeitgeist, one of which is still living and breathing, I think that it's a very daunting task. And so we didn't take that lightly. The second that we signed on, we immersed ourselves in learning everything there was to learn about these people.
And I also think that Steve Jobs is a very polarizing character.
Yeah.
He had this 95% approval rating from his employees, but he was this guy who would berate somebody if they did something wrong. And in most cases, you would sort of see him and go, you would see a person like that, and you go, well, nobody was going to like that guy. And there are people, if you were his competition, you probably didn't like him at all. Or if you were his adversary at any given time. And so when you have somebody that is such a polarizing character, trying to play that character and tell that story honestly in a way that both sides go, yeah, that was Steve. And the other go, yeah, that was Steve. And I think for me, having a lot of friends in the technology business and friends that work with him and friends that were friends with him, I also wanted to honor those people and honor their love for him, but at the same time tell an honest tale of who he was and how he was.
So I know that Woz didn't actually consult with you guys on the film, and obviously Jobs has passed away, and so you didn't.
Woz is being paid by another film to consult.
Right,
with
exactly.
Him.
So he can't. He can't really.
Instead of not consulting, he actually actively didn't consult.
Right. He was anti you guys. How did you kind of research the role? I know you actually got into studying the circuitry itself and kind of figuring all that stuff out, but Woz was the engineer.
Yeah, I had to I literally took computer programming courses and I took soldering classes, and I did as much as I could. I crammed as much as I could. I called it cramming the night before the SATs. And I read as much literature as I could, and I watched as much footage as I could. And in all, you paint this composite that's based on all the readily available material, but then you sort of have to let it go. You know, you got to tell the story. And early on, Josh Stern and I, the director, had a conversation about how we wanted Woz to function in this story, and I think it's successfully the movie manages to do that, which is he almost serves as Steve's conscience. He's almost the Jiminy Cricket of the story, right? And so that's kind of the tone that we wanted to take with it, with this version of this narrative.
Okay, so I have one more question for you specifically. In learning about Jobs and kind of stepping into that role, how does that affect your decisions as an investor moving forward? Do you think that shapes kind of the decisions that you'll make?
Well, I think that the fortunate thing about playing this role is I got to spend 3 months studying his decision-making process, or at least trying to get inside of his head and understand why he made the choices he made about the things that he made. Being able to study Fulan and Baja's design and really studying the aesthetic of Apple products, having an understanding of, when you touch that button to close the screen, it actually makes that click sound that's really similar to a car doors locking. And when you open it, it sort of makes this sound, almost as if, you just walk through one of those spindle, what are those turnstile revolving doors, and you just entered into a room.
Right.
And I think having a 360 understanding of product design from multiple centuries, and intuitive design, where, Steve didn't really invent a lot of the things that Steve gets credit for inventing.
Right.
But what he did is he made it simple. Right. He took something that was a very complicated process that maybe only the guys at Homebrew could understand how to use, and he simplified it and simplified it and simplified it to the point where my 7-year-old nephew FaceTimes me and my 80-year-old grandmother FaceTimes me. And I think that was his vision. I think that that's what he really wanted to do. And I think the biggest thing that I've drawn from it that I get to share with the entrepreneurs I work with is, can we make this so intuitively dumb? Yeah, and the problem is a lot of engineers are some of the most brilliant people so they're like, yeah, well, it's easy to figure it out, blah, 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 blah. And you go, yeah, it's easy to figure out for you because you made it, and you already know how it works. They don't know, and they've got to figure that out. And we have to make it just so simple that everyone can use it, because otherwise it's not ubiquitous,
right,
and it's not accessible. And being able to share that perspective on product with entrepreneurs and a little bit of the Apple ethos, from as I understand it, I think is helpful.
Absolutely. All right, well, I wish I had more time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.